you're about to see a caller just not be able to defend anything he says. Make sure you subscribe, and I'll catch you at the end of the video.
I will still vote for Nigel and the Brexit Party, even if he doesn't run, but I would prefer him to run.
Right.
MP.
Yes. And would you like me to clean your guttering for £25,000?
I still think, I think one of the reasons he may not be running is because, say, they only got 10 MPs.
Mate, they weren't going to get any MPs. They're not going to get any MPs.
He won't have as much say as he would do as leading in Europe.
But he can do both, Mark. I hate it when this happens. I have to point out simple facts to you, and you've rung up to express support for a man who doesn't tell you the truth. He can be both. Could be an MEP and an MP. And then if Brexit happens under Boris Johnson's deal, he won't be in the European Parliament anymore. So just talk me through how that would give him more power than being in Westminster.
No, I mean, I personally would prefer him to run for MEP, and I don't know the reason
why. But mate, we're leaving
the
European Union. He's already an MEP, Mark.
Sorry, I didn't mean that. I meant an MP.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Okay.
So I personally believe
you just said that you thought that he wasn't running to be an MP because he'd have more power by being an ex-MEP.
Well,
I'm just saying,
still wanting Brexit. If they only had 10 seats in Parliament, which is quite possible, I'm being a realist here as well.
You're not, mate. You're being a fantasist. They're not going to get any.
I knew it was risky rigging you.
It's not risky, Mark. I'm here to help, mate. There's a few little massive errors there that you've been labouring under for a few years now, but you've only been on the radio for 2 minutes, and already...
We've got a different view.
No, these aren't views. These aren't views. He is an MEP. After Brexit, he can't be. That's just a fact. You voted for him not to be an MEP anymore when you voted for Brexit, Mark.
Well, what I'm saying is I believe in a clean, straight get out.
There's no such thing, Mark.
I don't like Boris's deal. I'm normally a Conservative.
There's no such thing as a clean, straight get out.
I don't like Boris. I'm just telling you, I don't like Boris's
Why
deal
not, Mark?
Because I think it still ties us in. And
in what way?
Nigel is correct on that.
No,
it ties us in military, which I'm very concerned about.
No, it doesn't.
It does. It will tie us in for a certain amount of time, and we've got to get out. We are responsible for so many millions.
Let's just pause there, because I unlike Nigel, I respect you enough to actually display interest in the words that you say. So when you say it will tie us in for a certain amount of time, can you tell me precisely what you mean by that?
Well, from what I'm aware of,
yes,
and you might know more than I do.
Well, no, I can't, because you know that it will tie us in for a certain amount of time. So I'd like to know, what will it tie us into, and what is the certain amount of time?
It's probably at least 2 years.
What do you mean it's probably at least 2 years? That sounds like you've got no idea.
No, I've heard different things.
So we'll be tied in to the military side of things for at least 2 years.
Yeah, and there's decisions that we've tied in a while ago into the EU.
For example?
Where if we wanted to... Okay, for instance, let's pick on a country like Israel, for instance.
Pardon?
We've always been friends with them. I'm just picking on a general country, which is an easy one to pick on.
Right.
If we, for any reason, they were under a major attack and we wanted to defend them...
Yes.
And the rest of Europe would say no...
Yes.
We would have problems in doing that.
You mean like Iraq, when France was passionately opposed to it and we piled in with George W. Bush?
Yeah,
while we were members of the European Union.
No,
you mean like that?
That was a different treaty then. We signed more of our rights away since then.
But we didn't, Mark. You see, you've read this on Facebook and it's not true. And yet here you are still claiming to be did you call yourself a Brexiteer when you rang in?
Yes, I did call myself a Brexiteer.
And here you are live on the radio saying stuff that's not true, and yet you still think that you cast your vote correctly. It's built on nonsense, my friend. And guess who fed you that nonsense? No, we're not going to agree to disagree. There is absolutely nothing in the claim that there are new treaty obligations kicking in 2020 or 2022 that would prevent us from offering military support that other EU allies didn't want to cooperate with. It's not a view, it's not an opinion, it's not an agree to disagree. You have believed lies and cast your vote as a result of those lies, and yet for psychological reasons you still support the way you voted, despite the fact that your reasons for doing it were all false, mate.
Okay, if you take the interview with Nigel on Sunday morning in the Andrew Marr show, if you take that for instance, Nigel made it quite clear what was going on.
Did he? What?
And Andrew normally tears people down quite really, but he said, he let him carry on.
Yeah. So what is going on then, Mark?
Well, he let him say about what we're getting when we're going out. This is BBC, which is more left wing.
Well, how is the BBC left wing when Farage has been on Question Time more than anybody else on the planet?
On the whole, if you look at Question Time, again, sidetracked onto this.
Well, no, if I was you, I'd welcome the sidetrack, because I want to go back to this treaty that would prevent us from cooperating militarily with allies if our European Union partners didn't want us to. Where did you learn that?
I learned that listening by Nigel Farage and different places I've listened to.
Okay,
I haven't got them at my fingertips.
But you should have before you ring national radio, let alone cast a vote, cast an actual vote, exercise your pure democratic right, and it turns out that you did it on a lie. And yet you're cross with the person who's pointing out the lie. You're not cross with the liar, Mark. How long will it take you to cross that river, do you think?
Okay. I'll give you this one. Okay, next time I ring you up when I'm at home and I've got all the information.
No. You've now got all the information, Mark, because I've given it to you because I respect you. Okay, but we will disagree on it. No, we can't disagree on it because I've given you all the information. There is no opinion here unless you can provide me with a scintilla of evidence that continuing European Union membership would prevent us from undertaking a military campaign akin to the one in Iraq, which many of our European partners didn't endorse or join in.
We have signed up to stuff.
We have not, you see.
In the last 6 months.
Yes, but here's me getting paid to do this, telling you that we haven't. And here's you not knowing where it's come from or who said it or which bit of Facebook you got it from, saying that we have. So who do you think's right?
Okay, I'll give you this one.
No. I don't want you to give me anything, Mark. I'm giving you this one. I'm giving you the knowledge now to form an opinion based on facts rather than lies and feelings. And the only opinion you can form based on facts is that the people who told you this nonsense about treaties and armies lied to you. So why would you still trust them or want them to be in Parliament?
Oh, right. Okay, I will try and find out the information and I will come back to you.
Doesn't really work like that, mate, but I would love... we've got your number. What day should we ring you tomorrow?
No, I work as a coach driver, so it doesn't work like that.
All right, well, when's your next rest stop?
I need time to get the information for you.
Okay, well, we'll check in with you in a couple of days then.
Okay, no problem.
All right, and if it turns out you've been conned, who are you going to get cross with, me or Nigel?
We'll wait and see.
No, answer the question. No, of course you don't believe you've been conned. That's why you're having this meltdown on the radio and talking about driving coaches.
I'm not having a meltdown.
So when it turns out you've been conned, who are you going to get cross with, me or the person who conned you?
There is other issues.
Well, we can talk about them if you want. We can talk about the other issues. If you want.
I'm just about to go into work.
Of course you are.
Unfortunately, I've got to work. No, I am.
All right, mate.
Trust me.
No, I do trust you, Mark. That's the whole point. Yeah. I trust you to be intelligent enough to realise the difference between facts and lies. And you're very close. I can feel it. Have a great day.
So this really winds me up, right? Because he keeps saying, whenever he's caught out in the argument, he keeps saying, we'll agree to disagree to try and move away from the challenge that is being made towards his opinions. And he just keeps dodging every question the minute it becomes challenging for him. And this is just a pattern you see with people like him. And although this was many years ago, you still see these same patterns still happening now. But let me know what you guys think in the comments and subscribe if you like the channel because it really helps me out. And I'll catch you in the next one. I think this is genuinely the most confused caller I've ever seen call into LBC. But without further ado, let's just get straight into it and I'll give you my thoughts at the end.
11:34 is the time. Jackie's in Bexley. Jackie, what would you like to say?
I'd like to say that all the aggravation it causes when people are protesting, blocking roads, the way to protest isn't by blocking roads, stopping ambulances, police cars, stopping the public getting to work. It just makes people angry. And it's pointless.
How did you feel about the Queen's funeral?
The Queen's funeral, that was organised.
Yeah, but my God, they shut a lot of roads.
Yeah, but that was organised. It wasn't. It's not like these protesters that just do it willy-nilly.
But you couldn't go anywhere. You couldn't go anywhere.
Everybody knew the Queen's funeral was on that day.
Yeah, but if you had a heart attack, it wouldn't make any difference, would it?
Yeah, but they had roads diverted.
Did they?
So
why can't they do that? Why can't they do that when it's just stop oil then?
Because they just do it without letting people know. They just do it.
Yeah, but if they can get the police on the spot to do the arrests, then they can divert the roads that they used when it was the Queen's funeral. I mean, to be
Well,
honest with you,
it's not right.
we
It's
both
not
know
right.
they didn't divert the roads. If you were in the West End of London, you couldn't go anywhere by car.
Yeah, but then who was going to work? Everybody was off work. Everything was closed. The majority
We're talking
of
about
people
we're talking
were off
about
work.
police cars and ambulances, aren't we, Jackie?
Yeah, but
They weren't off work.
There was a reduced service, though, wasn't there?
Well, that's terrible.
A lot of people were watching the funeral, were there at the funeral. It was organised. That's
Right.
the difference.
Well,
These protests aren't organised.
Okay, so
and they're not having
we
road
should organise
diversions.
them then. They should. I mean, because what we've got to do is compare the disruption.
Yeah, if they want to organise them, that's fine. I haven't got any problems with
Even
them
if it shuts
organising
down
them.
the whole city.
Sorry?
Even if it shuts down the whole city.
Well, you're not going to shut down the whole city. If
Well, the
you're
Queen's
protesting
funeral
in one
did.
certain area.
The Queen's funeral did.
Yeah, we're not talking about the Queen's funeral.
I kind of am. I
protest.
appreciate you don't want me to, but you can't object to police cars not being able to get through in a sort of theoretical sense, but be perfectly comfortable.
It's completely different. The
What-
Queen's funeral is organised. Things like that is organised.
Okay.
The public know what's happening that day, and you would avoid going to those areas.
When do you think the police should be able to arrest people who haven't done anything wrong yet?
No, they shouldn't be able to arrest people who haven't done anything wrong, but people gluing themselves to the road.
No. They can already arrest them. This is about people who haven't done anything wrong yet.
Yet.
Yes.
Why should you wait for somebody? If you know someone's going to do something
How
wrong...
do you know?
Well, you don't, do you? But if people, like you say, if you said earlier, if people are on parole, you know...
No, hang
they've got
on.
their
Let's
eyes
just
on
pick
them.
up. Let's just rewind a bit. Because you said if you know somebody's going to do something wrong, and I said, how would you know? And you said, well, you don't, do you? But the law would allow the police to arrest people who haven't done anything wrong yet if the police fear that they might or that they're about to. So when would you do that? When would you be in favour of that?
Well, I'm not saying I'm in favour of arresting somebody that hasn't done something wrong.
But that's the entire phone-in topic that we're having at the moment.
Well, you know, the thing is, I thought he was talking about how you feel about protesters and things like that.
No, definitely not, no. Because the point is the police would say they've already got enough powers in those circumstances. You know, Charlotte Lynch, my colleague, got arrested just for watching a protest. She didn't even have any glue on her person.
That's totally wrong. That's totally wrong. I'm not
But they want more. But they want more powers, Jackie. So you're saying that the powers they've already got led to something that's totally wrong, and now they want more powers?
Well, you know, I think in certain circumstances...
You keep saying you know. I know it's a figure of speech, but I really don't, because I don't know quite what you think you're in favour of or opposed to.
I'm opposed to these protesters acting like idiots.
Yeah.
That,
Well, it should be we should all be allowed to act like...
do not know what paying into the tax system is.
Yeah, but
and
no,
appreciating
these
what
lines, I'm familiar with these lines. I've heard them millions of times before, but we've just established that this is not the conversation in which those lines need to be rehearsed, because we're talking about the police being given new powers to shut down protests before they cause disruption.
Yeah, but you know, you can protest. You don't need to block roads. You don't need to do stupid
But they
things.
won't have blocked any roads, will they? Because they'd be arrested before.
Well, that's fine then. That's fine then.
So
Yes,
we're getting there
protest as
now.
you can.
So when do
Yes.
you think it's okay for the police to arrest people who haven't done anything wrong?
Right. So they're allowed to arrest then, are they, when they're blocking the M25?
No, so if they've done that, they've already done something wrong. This is about... I can only explain it so many times, Jackie. This is about the
Well, they
police.
haven't done anything wrong. But what I'm saying is, they know...
So when?
if
Just
you're
tell me
going out to
when. When
protest,
is it okay to arrest people who haven't done anything wrong?
the moment they start walking towards blocking the road is when they should be arrested.
Now, how do you know they're going to block the road? They might just be walking.
They're not going to just be walking. Common sense says, come on.
But the last protest did involve just walking. They were walking up the Strand slowly. That was their protest.
Blocking roads.
Walking slowly.
Blocking roads.
Okay, so what speed should it be illegal to walk at?
I'm not saying it's illegal to walk, but what I'm saying is it's
Blocking
all
roads.
about common sense, isn't it? Come
Blocking
on, it's
roads.
all about common sense.
Blocking roads.
It's all about common sense.
So I'm asking where your common sense leads you. At what speed should you be arrested for walking in the road?
I'm not talking about speed. I'm talking about the amount of people that are blocking access. And
But
causing
once they're
disruption
blocking
to the public.
access, they've broken the law. They could be arrested. So why do they need new laws to arrest people who haven't done anything wrong yet? Because they don't.
What sort of laws they're talking about?
Well,
That's
I know
the
what sort of laws they're talking about. That's why I'm hosting the phone-in.
You've run things from the government. Is any of it true?
Jackie.
At the end of the day, you hear about talking about immigration. I haven't got a problem. And the Jewish situation is completely different. Earlier on, listening to the conversation, it's unacceptable.
What's happening?
The immigration.
I feel that
things.
I sense you've rung 3 different phone-ins now, except the one that we're actually having.
I've been listening to it this morning.
Yeah.
And I've been listening to it, and it's horrendous because at the end of the day, there's not a problem with people coming in the country, immigrants coming into the country.
Why are we talking about this?
They're going to work. Well, because I want to get it out there, because the government are afraid to say anything.
Can't you go to a coffee morning?
To say anything nowadays.
Who's frightened to say anything nowadays? You haven't stopped talking for the last 6 minutes.
Well, there you go. I'm getting my point across.
So why are you frightened? Who's frightened? Who's frightened? I mean, to be fair, I'm not sure you are getting your point across, but I'm delighted that you feel you are. But who's frightened of saying anything? Who are these people?
But you're not allowed to say things in case you're being racist.
Like what?
You talk about immigration. When people talk about immigration, the one point I talk to a lot of people. I work in the public sector and talk to a lot of people.
About protests.
Yeah, but it is about protest.
So what aren't you allowed to say about immigration without being called racist?
You're not allowed to say that you don't think Britain should help. The problem is, let people in from the Ukraine, from war-torn countries, that are running for their lives.
Yeah.
But if you're running for your life, you stop in the first country that's safe.
Well,
England
that's Poland.
Is the first country that's safe.
That's Poland. That's Poland.
Well, this isn't, but England isn't the first country that's safe.
No, but if you're running out of Ukraine, you should stay in Poland or possibly Estonia. My geography's not as good as it should be.
Yeah. What I'm saying is, you're getting people coming across illegally on boats.
But why were you talking about Ukraine?
Because the war in Ukraine.
What about the war in Syria?
Sympathy.
They've just shot a politician in Afghanistan for being a woman.
Yes, but that's what I'm saying. I'm talking about war-torn countries.
Yeah, like Afghanistan and Syria.
Sorry?
Like Afghanistan and Syria.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If they come over legally in the correct way and not on boats across the channel.
What's the legal way?
What's the legal way? Get your documents, come over the legal way.
How?
The legal system works.
What's the legal way?
That's why the NHS is in so much trouble.
Whoa,
because
NHS!
so many people come into the country that aren't paying into the system,
right.
that are getting housing benefits because they know the system, because England is a soft country and everybody knows that.
Right.
If you come in from another country, you'll get a house, you'll get benefits, you get free medical treatment. That's why the NHS is up the creek, and nobody will say it. Nobody will say it, but I will, because that's the truth of the matter.
To be fair, Jackie, I've heard loads of people say it, and they are all wrong.
How can you say they're all wrong?
Well, let's examine it, shall we? Let's just back up one bit. The legal routes that you can come here from Afghanistan. Just talk me through what that involves.
I haven't a clue.
I know.
I haven't a clue.
Okay, and let's pretend that those routes...
I'll be honest, I haven't a clue.
Oh, well, you don't have to tell us that. Or not out loud. And now pretend now that these legal routes exist, even though we both know that they don't, okay? So you get here via one of these legal routes. Talk me through how you get a house and benefits.
Who knows? But
you do,
that comes
Jackie.
Here seems to know.
You do. So tell me how that works.
I haven't a clue how they get it, but they get it.
So you haven't got a clue how they get here.
They moan about being in a centre down in Kent.
Well, hang on. Why are they in a centre down in Kent if they're all getting houses and unemployment benefits? Mm-hmm. Why are they in a centre down in Kent if they can all get a house?
These are the ones that are coming on the boats, aren't they?
No, you just told me they're the ones that get the houses.
They do.
But why are they in a centre in Kent then?
Because they're waiting for all the paperwork to be done, aren't they?
But you were in favour of the paperwork a minute ago. That would be the legal route.
Now. You know the situation, and you can't say it's right.
I do, and it is.
Do you believe people that are paying their taxes, that my parents who have worked all of their life and struggled and paid into the system, and we should let any Tom, Dick or Harry come into the country?
But we don't, you see.
We do.
No,
how can you say that? We do.
Well,
you don't live in the real world.
How many times in this conversation have I said I haven't got a clue?
Well, how can I believe what you're saying?
No,
how do I know what you're saying?
It's a simple question. Correct? It's not an opinion. It's just counting. How many times in this conversation have I said I don't have a...
Doesn't matter. Yeah, I'm being honest. That's why.
And how many times?
Honest,
And how many times?
honest.
And how many times?
I know for a fact.
And how many times have you said it?
Yeah, I haven't got a clue about certain things. I don't know the system. I don't know the system.
Well,
I do.
But then how
know
can you
for a
have such a
fact-
strong opinion about something you don't know anything about?
I do, I'm not saying I know about the
So
the
if I said to
system, but
you,
what I'm saying
point at
is-
something that proves what you're telling me, what would you point at?
Point at something that proves what you're telling me.
Yeah.
Well, go onto a GP list of patients.
Yeah.
And see how long they've been in the country and what they get and where they live.
Right.
And
what would
whether
this
it
prove?
is, council accommodation, private
Oh,
rented.
Jackie.
You go in and have a look.
Okay.
And you're telling me, you cannot honestly tell me that this is not happening.
Well,
That this
I don't
is
know
not
what you're
happening.
telling me
You
is.
tell me honestly.
So you're telling me that
what happens to the people?
foreign
that are
people go
coming
to
in
the
on those
doctors.
boats? You tell me they're not getting sent straight back, are they?
Foreign people go to the doctors. Is that what you're telling me?
No, I'm not saying that. You're changing everything I'm saying.
I don't understand what you
I'm
think. I don't
saying
think
is
either of us know
asking
what
me
you're
for the
saying.
proof. No, I
Yes.
haven't got the proof.
No, I know
But
you
come
haven't
on.
got the proof. Why didn't you just
I
say
haven't
that?
got the proof,
So
but
you haven't.
you
So you
know.
haven't got a clue, and you haven't
No.
got the proof.
No.
I know.
I don't need the proof.
But it
You
doesn't
can
matter
see
because you
it.
can't say what you want in
can
this country
see it.
anymore without
You
being
can-
called a
right,
racist.
You walk round any local town centre,
And you'll see some
okay,
foreign
they're not
people.
going to be classed as being racist.
There's-
You walk round any town
How can you
centre,
tell who's foreign?
Okay, you walk and because you can hear the language. So it's not just black, Indian, Asian people.
No.
It's Polish,
It's-
Ukrainian. It's in Eastern European.
Yeah, and what's
it's
wrong with them
every
again?
Single language apart from English.
What's wrong with them
so
again?
Don't tell me there's not people coming into this country.
I didn't. I didn't.
Well, but you're telling me, and they're not getting houses. You're telling me where they live.
You've got Suella Braverman's parents.
St Thomas's Hospital
You've
in
got
London.
Rishi Sunak's
You go-
parents.
you
You've
go
got
to St
James
Thomas's Hospital
Cleverly's
in
mum.
London,
You've
and
got
you tell
Dominic
me how many
Raab's
English
dad.
staff are working there.
What's wrong with foreigners?
Nothing's wrong with foreigners as long as
Hey.
they're coming into the country and paying their taxes.
But they are.
They're not all of them.
Well, how do they do that then?
Not all of them. You
How-
get a job and you work.
So unemployed foreigners are the problem.
Yes.
Right. Well, we got there in the end.
Yes, unemployed
Why are they
foreigners.
worse? Why are they worse than unemployed British people?
No, unemployed British people are as bad
Oh, so why are we talking about the foreigners?
because they're letting people into the country.
Who is?
The government.
But we've just established you've got no idea how you can come into this country legally if you're a refugee.
Well, you tell me.
You can't.
You can.
How?
Because they're getting on boats and ending
That-
up at Dover.
Yes, that's the thing that we said wasn't legal. So what's the legal
Yeah.
route?
I don't know the legal route, but what
You
I'm
just
saying
said
is the
you
legal
did.
route should be.
I
like
said
when
you
go to
can't, and you said
Australia.
you can.
have to have a certain amount of
So
money,
what's
don't you, to get into Australia?
what's the legal route?
I don't know the legal route.
There
I
isn't
don't
one.
know. And what member of the public does know the legal route in? Come on.
I do.
How do you know the legal route then?
Well, it's research.
Yeah, research.
Yeah. Do you want to know what the legal route is if you want
Go
to
on,
come
then,
into?
you tell me the legal route.
There isn't one.
Okay. How comes that is then?
Pardon?
How's that then?
Because the
How are they
Tories,
getting in if there's no legal route
the
then?
Tories have closed them all down. The French would open up an asylum processing centre in Calais tomorrow, but the Tories don't want to do that because it would involve genuine asylum seekers having their applications accepted and coming to this country legally.
But you know you cannot have a genuine asylum seeker.
Yeah.
Would not be able to come to this country, would they?
Correct.
If you're a genuine asylum seeker, you go to the first safe country.
Except
so
in
you wouldn't have
no,
this problem.
No, you don't, though, Jackie. That's simply not true. Also, what?
It is true. If you're running,
Okay,
for
so
your life,
why didn't all the Ukrainians stay in Poland then?
well, okay, fair enough. But what I'm
What do
saying
you
is,
mean? Okay, fair enough. It's a question. Why didn't all the
I
Ukrainians?
haven't a clue.
Okay.
Probably
Well, I
because
do
they've got family
again.
here
There we
and,
are again. I hope
you
someone's
sympathise.
keeping count. It's something else you don't have a clue about. Shall I tell you why they didn't all stay in Poland?
Go on then.
Because the idea that people fleeing war zones have to stay in the first safe country they reach is not true.
Well, this is what we're told
Who by?
by the government,
No, you're not.
by whoever.
Oh, actually, on this occasion, you are told that by the government. But
We're
they're
told an
the
awful lot
same.
by the government, but
Yeah.
how do we know what
But a
they're
minute
saying is true and
ago,
what
in
they're
fact,
doing?
at the beginning of this call, you were telling me you can't trust anything the government says.
Well, you can't, can you?
No, you can't, Jackie.
You've just said it. You can't.
Yeah, exactly.
You can't.
Except the bits you want to believe.
No, it's not the bits you want to believe.
Like
it's what
the bits
you see
about
in general
safe
life.
countries.
When you see how the NHS is struggling, and all these people are coming into the country.
What about foreign
and
doctors?
Not enough schools.
50%.
There's not enough building houses.
50% of NHS doctors now are foreign. 50% of NHS doctors are foreign-born. How do we feel about them?
I'm not against foreign people. See, you're changing what I'm saying.
I'm not.
I am not against foreign people working in England.
But if you're walking through the town centre and you see someone speaking Polish, how do you know whether they've got a job or not?
I don't know whether they've got a job or not.
So then how do you know that they're the problem, that you can point at to prove to me all the things?
I'm not pointing at individuals, am I?
Yes, you were a minute ago. You said you can walk through any town.
If people come to this country, no matter where in the world they come from, if they're going to work and pay taxes and pay national insurance towards the NHS, then that's fine.
So you're in favour of uncontrolled immigration then?
Not uncontrolled, no.
Why not, if they've all got to get a job and pay taxes?
There'd be a lot less people coming into the country, wouldn't there, that are working. If you want the doctors, the nurses, and all the healthcare workers and all professional people coming into the country, that's not a problem. But the problem is the people that aren't
It'd be a lot harder to see a
country.
doctor if we got rid of half of them, wouldn't it?
I'm not. So why are you saying that? I haven't said a word about getting rid of foreign doctors. I said it doesn't matter what country you're from, as long as you are paying.
Well, that's uncontrolled. That's uncontrolled immigration.
No, it's not.
It is.
How can it be uncontrolled? If the paperwork's going through, how can it be uncontrolled? They're applying to come to the country to do a specific job.
Yes,
okay?
Exactly. So we won't put any limits on how many people can come here as long as they do a job.
Yes, but you're not going to have all the uncontrolled amount of people coming here that aren't going to work and are going to get benefits and housing.
And how do they get here again?
How does who get here?
All the people you were just talking about, the ones with all the houses.
Well, I don't know how they get here. Some come over on a boat illegally.
Right.
Some get over here legally. Whether you just said
Will you do me a favour?
I don't care how they get over here. I don't know how they get over here. But at the end of the day,
again, it's an incredibly strong opinion. An incredibly strong opinion for a subject that, by your own admission, you know absolutely nothing about.
No. You're just trying to change what I'm saying.
I'm really not.
And I bet if you put a vote out on what people think out there, you'll get a 99% vote.
Well, let's find out.
Right, and loads of people want to say the same as me,
what do you think?
Got the guts to say it.
Well, we're here again, aren't we? You think you're some sort of brave crusader saying stuff that...
I don't think I'm a brave crusader. I'm just a normal.
Well, what does guts mean then?
Person.
What does guts mean, Jackie?
Why are you questioning the way I'm speaking?
You just said I haven't got the guts to do it, and I said that you think you're brave. So if you say I haven't got the guts to do something, guts is just another word for bravery, isn't it?
Look, okay, people are frightened to say anything.
I have to go now. Well, hang on.
Okay,
again,
then.
No, we're back there. What are people frightened of saying?
Oh, is it worth me finishing?
Yeah,
is it worth me finishing?
Well, I'm 8 minutes late for the break. I could do this all day. But what is it that people are frightened of saying in the...
Speaking up the honest truth about what they feel.
But every time you've told me the honest truth, I've asked you one question and you've said I haven't got a clue.
That's about the way people get into the country. And
how can it be the honest truth?
Legal or illegal way of getting into Britain, but it's happening.
If I asked you to make a list of things you have got a clue about, what would you put at the top of the list?
Who knows?
Well, I hope you might.
I've got a clue about a lot of things.
Go on, then.
I've got a clue about a lot of things.
All right.
Well, there's no point in talking to you because you twist everything I say and then put words into my mouth.
What words have I put into your mouth?
Oh, come and see you. Question.
Well, that's what I do.
Of
course, you say something.
I know absolutely nothing.
I know you. Well, you keep saying I haven't got a clue.
Dear.
Love to the family, Jackie.
Right. Thank you.
It's 11:54.
Right, so that was such a frustrating conversation to follow because the caller kept making these outrageous claims. But when the first question about any of those claims came, she just kept saying, I haven't got a clue, or you can't trust what you hear. And if she's so adamant that you can't trust what you hear and you can't trust what the government says, then where are all these opinions coming from? Like, she's got so many vacuous opinions that just are completely unchallenged, clearly, in her circles. And when it comes to meeting someone who's got opposing views, she can't substantiate any of the wild claims that she makes. And I think James O'Brien completely runs circles around her for the entire 20 minutes. And I think the confusing bit is it initially started as a Just Stop Oil kind of protesting call and then quickly dived into immigration and kind of really took a left turn. And I just find it quite bizarre that she feels you can't say anything without being called racist, and she doesn't really know what her issue is, because initially she's claiming that, it's a massive immigration issue, and then when pressed further, she says it's only unemployed immigrants. And she also has an issue with people in her town centre speaking different languages. And then James O'Brien asked a very fair question: how can you tell those people are unemployed versus employed? And she doesn't have an answer for it, because you can't. So it seems like her core issue is actually just non-British people, and she's trying to mask it with unemployment as a disguise for what is racism. But let me know what you guys think in the comments. I'm really keen to get your thoughts, and I'll catch you in the next one. In this video, you're going to see a caller constantly try and defend Netanyahu and keep dodging the question. As always, I'll give you my thoughts at the end of the video.
What you and many others don't seem to understand is it's very easy for the people to rise up against Hamas. This sounds a little bit like what's his chops talking about slavery, doesn't it? I've forgotten his name, Kim Kardashian's husband, who was talking about how he couldn't believe that slaves put up with being slaves, and because if he was there at the time, he'd have risen up against Kanye, isn't it? He'd have risen up against them. So, of course, if they wanted to get rid of Hamas, they could do it easily. But they don't, because they want all this to happen. Therefore, writes Marcus, and I read out texts on this rather than tweets, because they have phone numbers on them, which means they're checkable, they're real people. And Marcus writes, we should just the easiest way is just to wipe Gaza off the map. They have nothing to offer the world anyway. And I think that is what is underpinning the belief of right-wing commentators who talk about razing Gaza to the ground or making it rubble, and very carefully avoid talking about the human cost that would involve. Would it somehow become a more honest conversation in which independent observers would find it easier to hold a position if Netanyahu expanded upon what he means when I say, I have sworn to destroy Hamas, nothing will stop us, and returned, for example, to what he was prepared to say 40 years ago, according to the journalist Max Hastings, when he was perfectly prepared to say that we will get a chance to wipe out the Arabs completely. His words. I took a slightly strange call earlier this week from someone who objected to the use of the word Arabs, but I'm quoting, well, not only is it a technically accurate word, but I'm quoting Benjamin Netanyahu. In the next war, if we do it right, we'll have a chance to get all the Arabs out. We can clear the West Bank, sort out Jerusalem. I mean, what else is motivating him when he says nothing will stop us? Graham's in Borehamwood. Graham, what would you like to say?
Good morning, James. I think the one word that seems to be missing from all of these conversations about the terrible situation there is the word surrender. The needless killing of people can simply stop today if Hamas simply surrendered. And there's precedent for that, because the PLO were fighting in Jordan and realised they were against insurmountable odds. They surrendered and left the country, and then peace was restored.
With respect, Graham, the conversation we're having today is about the scenario absent surrender. It's about what Netanyahu means when he says nothing will stop us, and the question of why there is this reluctance, although to their credit, many of my contributors today are shrugging off that reluctance, a reluctance to admit that Israel is perfectly prepared to kill every civilian in Gaza.
I think, James, I think that Netanyahu's political future is very limited. He's not going to last long after this.
Well, that'll be little comfort to anybody burying their child next week.
Well, yes, but the point is they don't have to bury their child if Hamas put the white flag up. Simple as that.
Yes, but as I've just reminded you respectfully, the conversation we're having today is about what Netanyahu is doing, not what Hamas should be doing. And what Netanyahu is doing is clearly, to my mind, embarking upon a policy built upon the belief that every single human being in Gaza deserves to die.
Yeah, I don't know whether that's right or wrong, but the point of the message...
Challenge it.
The point should be that as soon as Hamas...
But you can't have a conversation about what Netanyahu is doing by telling me what you think Hamas should be doing.
Well,
it's not a conversation. Here's a question. What is Netanyahu... Graham, the question is, what is Netanyahu doing? Your answer can't be, let me tell you what Hamas should be doing. Do you see that?
No, I don't.
Okay, let me say it again. Let me say it again.
Let me say it again. By surrendering.
Let me say it again.
He will no longer have power.
Let me say it again.
If they surrender, the Israelis will chuck him out. Simple as that.
Let me say it again.
The question, what is Netanyahu doing, does not admit the answer, oh, let me tell you what Hamas should be doing. You must see that.
I don't.
Well, would you mind trying a bit harder?
I see that the cause of the problem.
Would you mind trying a tiny bit harder?
Netanyahu.
Would you mind trying a tiny bit harder?
I was trying as hard as I can.
Okay, then I'll say it once more. The question is, what is Benjamin Netanyahu doing? A man who has talked in the past of having a chance to get all the Arabs out. What is he doing in the next war? If we do it right, we'll have a chance to get all the Arabs out. So again, respectfully, that rather removes the precedent of previous negotiations or surrenders from the table, because he's already talking in his own mind about the next war. We get all the Arabs out. The question of what is his end game, what is his purpose, you cannot answer that question by telling me, here's a complete counterfactual about what I think Hamas should be doing. And what I think...
The end game for Netanyahu is probably a prison cell if he gets convicted for corruption.
Yeah, that's another helpful distraction, but I mean, a rather transparent one.
Well, that's your view, not mine.
No, it's not. No, talking about Netanyahu being in a prison cell is a distraction from the question of what his current military policy is. That's not a view. That's not a view. That's a statement of fact. It's not a view.
Well, his position will become irrelevant the moment Hamas surrender.
So what is his position? What is the position? What is the position that would become irrelevant?
He will no longer have power if Hamas surrenders.
No, you said his position would become irrelevant. What is his position?
Yeah. His position now, it doesn't matter.
But what is it, though?
As soon as they surrender,
what is it?
Then the war stops and the Israeli people will throw him out of power.
What is the position?
I have no idea what his position is. I can't know what's in his mind.
So you don't know what the words "nothing will stop us" mean?
Well, words that were said 20, 30 years
No, this was yesterday.
Probably were... I'm sure he is not interested in genocide. The Israeli
What does
people
nothing will stop us
genocide.
mean then? What does it mean? What is his position? He said to the Secretary of State, Antony Blinken, in Jerusalem yesterday, not 20 years ago. And also, again, respectfully, if you thought that saying he said that 20 years ago somehow diffused the words, then you must be acknowledging the power of the words when you suddenly discover that they were actually said yesterday. So what do you think they mean?
I don't know what they mean.
Yes, you do.
I don't know what. I don't.
You do, Graham. Of course you do. Well, let's go through them. Let's go through them one by one. Let's go through them one by one. What does the word nothing? What does the word nothing mean?
It's irrelevant once the fighting stops.
What does the word nothing mean?
He'll no longer have any power. He'll be a footnote in history.
That's all very interesting, but what does the word nothing mean?
I'm sorry, I don't see where you're going with that.
Well, it's a fairly straightforward attempt to help you understand what the words "nothing will stop us" mean, because you just said you didn't.
Well, he wants to see Hamas eradicated.
Talking about the word, what does the word "nothing" mean?
I don't think, from a military point of view, you'll ever eradicate Hamas.
What does the word "nothing" mean?
Not the point. The point is...
I'm afraid it is the point. It's what he said yesterday, and it's his policy that you phoned in to discuss.
People are needlessly being slaughtered.
Well, I agree with that. So what does the phrase "nothing will stop us" mean? It means there is no level of...
to stop it is for Hamas to surrender.
Okay, so we're back...
argument.
But no, it's not the end of...
The government changes, and they all can get together, and Gaza can be rebuilt.
Graham, you can talk all day, and I'm going to keep you on the line until you tell me what you think "nothing will stop us" means.
I don't know what you...
Yes, you do.
I can't say what...
Of course you can.
...is in his mind.
So you can conjure up a confident prediction of what would happen in Israel in the event of Hamas surrendering. Oh, Graham, you're letting yourself down. What does "nothing will stop us" mean?
He means he wants to eradicate Hamas.
No, he doesn't. What does "nothing will stop us" mean?
It means he'll do what it takes to eradicate Hamas.
So what would stop him from continuing that course? How many deaths?
The surrender of Hamas would stop him.
No, nothing will stop us.
The surrender of Hamas would stop him.
Graham, you know what these words mean, Graham? It means
surrender of Hamas will stop
it means he's prepared to kill 2 million civilians.
No, it doesn't. Don't be stupid.
Well, so you know what it doesn't. You know what it doesn't mean,
James. You're being absolutely ridiculous.
So what does it mean then?
It means he wants to eradicate Hamas.
No, what does "nothing will stop us" mean? Because you know what it doesn't mean.
He will use all the military power he has to eradicate Hamas.
Yes, and the civilians who are caught up in the crossfire?
If they're being used by Hamas as human shields, they are a terrible consequence of war, which Hamas will stop by surrendering.
So there we are, all 2 million of them.
No.
So how many?
You're being just fantastic.
Well, thank you, but how many?
How
many, Graham? How many, Graham? How many?
There is no point playing numbers games.
But you just rejected 2 million.
No, I'm not rejecting. I'm not putting any numbers on it. It's a military situation.
How many is too many?
To be stopped by Hamas surrendering. Why won't you agree that if Hamas surrender, the war stops?
Because I'm not psychic. And I'm talking about Benjamin Netanyahu's current policy, which is nothing will stop us. And you can't even say what those 4 words mean because
I'm sorry,
because the words would turn the words would.
No,
a hypothetical situation, Graham. You're here to talk about.
You're not that clever.
Oh, I am. You're here to talk about Hamas surrendering, and you're criticising me for discussing a hypothetical situation.
Well, it's not a hypothetical situation for Hamas to surrender.
Okay,
I'll give you
Graham.
an example. Arafat surrendered in Jordan, and they all went out of Jordan, and there was peace.
And Netanyahu said, in the next war, if we do it right, we'll have a chance to get all the Arabs out. So it was just an exercise in mowing the lawn, I think, is the phrase that's often used.
Well,
just before you go, and I'll ask you this again respectfully, why do you find it so hard to answer that question, nothing will stop us? Is it because you do know the answer and you don't want to say it out loud?
I don't agree. I don't know the answer, and you don't know the answer as well. You're just throwing these words up in the air, and frankly, they're an incitement.
Well, I'm asking you what they mean, that's all.
No, I've told you what they mean. They mean the eradication of Hamas.
And
and
what does nothing mean?
I've told you. I mean, I feel like talking to the wall.
Well, I know how you feel, but nothing will stop us means there is absolutely no limit upon how much civilian death we will accommodate in pursuit of what you describe as the eradication of Hamas. Why do you find that so hard to admit?
Because I don't agree with you. I don't think it means that at all.
So what does it mean then?
Eradication of Hamas.
So what?
And Hamas can
all right,
stop it
Graham.
tonight.
Okay, Graham. I mean, down with hypotheticals and numbers games. Nothing will stop us. There are 2 million people in Gaza, and there are 20, 30,000 Hamas terrorists, say 50,000 if you prefer. How many of the 2 million must die in pursuit of the eradication of the 50,000? So the reason I read out those grim texts earlier is because I don't want to accuse Graham of lacking courage, because I think he's a better person in some ways than Marcus, who writes about the easiest way is just to wipe Gaza off the map. They have nothing to offer the world anyway. Because Graham's moral compass prevents him from going there in public, out loud. I think even in private he can't conceive of Gaza being wiped off the map, and in Marcus's words, they have nothing to offer the world anyway. But unless you are prepared to say that out loud, then you end up having to pretend that you don't know what the words "nothing will stop us" mean.
This conversation is absolutely devastating in how it exposes the cognitive gymnastics required to defend indefensible. Graham calls it, like he just calls in to discuss Hamas surrender. But what O'Brien systematically reveals is that Graham can't or won't acknowledge what Netanyahu's "nothing will stop us" actually means, because doing so would force him to confront support for potential genocide. And I'm not sure why callers like Graham say the things they say, right? Because he keeps using whataboutery to dodge James O'Brien's questions, when in reality, if you are defending Netanyahu's words, you are consenting and kind of being on the side of genocide, which is just abhorrent. And, you know, Graham claims that he can't know what's in Netanyahu's mind, which is particularly dishonest, because moments earlier, he confidently predicted exactly what would happen in Israel politics following a Hamas surrender. But he can apparently read the future of an entire nation's political dynamics, but he can't interpret 4 simple English words from their leader. So he's definitely dodging the question and avoiding the confronting feeling and confronting fact that he is, compliant with genocide. And what James O'Brien's analysis towards the end, it was very interesting, because he basically said that, Graham, the caller, can't even bring himself to admit or concede or answer James's question, because he knows that if he does answer that, he is then compliant in genocide, and he can't even bring himself to do that, which just shows how immoral it is. But let me know what you guys think, and I'll catch you in the next one. You're about to see a man somehow disagree with the concept of giving children free food. This is incredible, and I'll give you my thoughts at the end.
I mean, it's basically a question about the way you do your presentation. I mean, you're meant to ask, at least in my opinion, open questions to the audience, so the audience can ring in and give them your views. Yeah. However, when I listen to you, rarely...
do you know what, mate? I think today hungry children are more important than your debut as a radio critic. So let's start with the question I'm asking. Who are our own, do you think, when we talk about helping our own first?
Down there. The audience of what I've just heard, I would believe that the majority of people that would want to ring into your station and actually say what they believe or think, rightly or wrongly, are afraid to ring in because you've already set them up. Anybody who...
Well, you tell me what you think, Pete, okay?
It's going to be demonised.
But my opinion is that we should help hungry children.
Yeah, but you don't put it in that context. You say,
well, I just did, Pete. Just for you.
If you don't agree with me, you are...
We should help hungry children. Tell me why you disagree with that.
I don't disagree. I didn't say I did disagree, but I disagree with...
Pete, mate, there's a lot of people listening to the programme, and if you want to post a review of the programme, I'm happy to retweet it. But in the meantime, can you have a crack at the questions that I'm asking?
That they cannot ask you a straight question or voice...
Well, go on, then. Ask me a straight question.
Demonised by you.
Ask me a straight question, Pete.
They don't agree with your viewpoint.
Someone's feeling a bit ashamed today, aren't they, Pete?
Not me.
Yes, Pete.
I've got nothing to be ashamed about. I haven't...
Then why are you ringing up, complaining about how I've made you feel? Why have you rung up to complain about how I've made you feel, Pete?
You haven't made me feel anything.
So what are you complaining about?
It's frustrated that you push an agenda and don't...
Frustrated that I hold up the mirror, and there you are, looking in the mirror and seeing a man who doesn't want to help hungry children.
So... Am I naive? You're far from naive. You're extremely manipulative.
You've been on for 4 minutes, Pete.
Allow the audience
and you're still talking about me.
To ring in and disagree with you.
Well, go on then, Pete. Disagree.
You spent the last 4 to 5 minutes...
Pete, disagree. Disagree, Pete.
Well, great. Disagree with me. That's what the conversation should be about. Not picking people up and not allowing them to say what they think.
I'm literally begging you to say what you think.
I think many things. I'm open-minded, but I don't think...
Yes, but on the specific issue that we're talking about today, Pete, what is it you want to say?
What? Should we let hungry children go hungry?
Should the government help hungry children in the summer holidays?
Yes, if they're in need.
Well, hunger is need, right?
Is that okay?
Yes, so what exactly is it you're complaining about again?
Your presentation.
Right. Even though you agree with me.
Sorry, this isn't your argument, is it?
Yes, it is. I desperately want the government to help hungry children.
The audience, for anybody who wanted to
but you agree with me.
Alternative viewpoint to yours.
But you don't have an alternative viewpoint, so how can you speak for people who do if you agree with me?
I beg your pardon?
How can you speak for people who have an alternative viewpoint if you don't, Pete? You just agreed with me.
But you've already... If anybody was to ring in and say that they didn't...
Well, do it then. Try it. Try it. Come on, Pete. Come on, Pete. Come on, Pete. Tell the truth.
What is the truth, James?
Well, the truth is you don't ring in to a radio presenter you agree with to complain. No, but it's yours, mate. You just said that the government should help.
If these children are seriously in need, yes, but...
And that judgment is made during term time.
I also think
go on,
a lot of it, as your caller who was from the school just recently said, or inferred, that it isn't the children, it is the children that are hungry, but the reason the children are hungry is poor parenting in a lot of cases.
So should we... Don't feed the ones with poor. Don't feed the children with. Don't feed the children with poor parents. Then is that what you're saying?
No, teach the parents.
So who do we feed?
How to look after their own children.
How are we going to pay for that?
Well, there's no point just.
And how do we feed the children? How do we feed the children while we're teaching the parents, Pete?
Listen, you should set up, or what it should be, social programs that actually teach parents. You can't have a society where people continually have children for
but we're talking Nadine and Marcus Rashford. We're talking about people who will...
those children. It doesn't matter how much money you throw at the situation. It will continue to perpetuate itself if people have more and more children because they choose. I'm not saying everybody, but if some people
Pete, why are you talking about these people?
Rather than actually work,
here we go.
Spend their money not on their children, but on all the other stuff that they actually want. And
there we go, mate. You see, we got there in the end.
Stop.
Yes, we got there in the end, didn't we? You don't think the children of parents on benefits should get help with their food?
Well, that's
and
it.
you feel utterly ashamed of yourself. And that's why you rung in to complain about the question. Pete, I could hardly listen more, Pete.
You push your agenda. And
what's my agenda, Pete?
What the audience thinks. You only like your own voice.
Well, I'm trying to listen to yours. Briefly, what's my agenda, Pete?
Well, what I said was, children that do require food should receive it. But it cannot be a perpetual situation. The parents of these children should learn to put the children first and look after their children, not themselves.
Yes, and what's my agenda?
We've created a situation, a society, where that's it. It's just basically you can choose to work or not to work. Now, don't tell me.
And this story is about people who do work and still can't afford to feed their children. No, Pete, she wasn't, mate.
What she said.
Pete, she wasn't.
Not that the children are hungry, but the reason
didn't say that, Pete.
Is because
she said I work in a school and still run out of money before the end of the month, Pete. I don't know what call you were listening to, but before you go, Pete, genuinely, I get this, Pete. You're going to have to listen to me at some point. I get this quite a lot, and I'm fascinated to know what the word means. What is my agenda, mate?
You push an agenda all the time.
Yeah, what is it?
That's the reason why the majority of times I can't listen to you.
So what's my agenda, Pete?
Well, you're trying to draw me into this, and it's an extremely complicated situation.
You just literally said that I have an agenda. What is it?
Say who
Pete, please, it's 10:43. We've only got 2 minutes. What is my agenda?
Okay. You push a left-wing agenda.
What does that mean, Pete?
Open borders.
We're talking about school dinners, Pete. What's my agenda on school dinners?
Yeah, but you set the agenda when you started the conversation. You didn't.
What is it? What is my agenda, Pete?
Please call in and say what you thought. You set
what's my agenda?
Your audience.
Pete, mate, please. What's my agenda? 10:44. What's my agenda? Or my narrative? Because I hear these words a lot, and I'm yet to meet anyone who can tell me what they mean.
Your agenda in every line that you say.
Well, then it'll be really easy for you to explain what it is, won't it? Come on.
You have a very, very left-wing agenda.
Because you just keep saying that. What does it mean?
Anybody who disagrees with you.
I love being disagreed with, Pete. This is going to be my favourite call of the day. What is my agenda?
You have a very left-wing
agenda. What is my agenda, Pete?
You can't
on school dinners.
Your agenda in like 2 or 3 words, James. Well,
take 30.
Apart from you are dangerously manipulative with your...
What's my agenda? Come on, Pete, you can do it.
I think I'm done with you, James. Thank you very much.
Pete, mate. Oh, I was really looking forward to finding out what my agenda is. Anyway, there's Pete, who doesn't think that hungry school children should just be fed first, and then we can look at some of the systemic problems behind their hunger second. And that is what I do. If you don't like what you see in the mirror, Pete, I do actually suggest, well, you already told me what you do, and I heartily approve.
You'd like to think that giving children who are hungry free food is quite an opinion that you can't really disagree with. But somehow this caller finds a way to somehow disagree with James O'Brien and keeps saying that he's pushing this not woke agenda, that's what they usually say, but he keeps saying this left-wing agenda, but he can't actually explain what this agenda is. And that is a common theme where people have these kind of buzzwords but can't ever back it up with actual substance. And it's just brilliant to see this guy just continually get frustrated and not actually answer any of James O'Brien's questions. This was from a few years ago, but it's still exactly how people think now, which is pretty sad. But let me know what you guys think in the comments, and I'll catch you in the next one.